Okay, fantastic. Well, I'm here live on Facebook, and I am here tonight to do a recruitment Q&A. It's 8 o'clock UK time, and I'm trying this out at the same time over on Instagram. But it's mainly focused for my Facebook fans right this second. So I'm just going to jump on this because I had a few questions come in today about what candidates were wanted to have some help with. And I can see there's a lot of people who are looking for roles at the moment and looking for a new opportunity. And sometimes with the August slowdown in Europe, and I wouldn't say it's necessarily slow everywhere, by the way, so that can be sometimes a little bit misleading. But sometimes with the August slowdown, it can be challenging to secure your next role. I've noticed over the years, many years, especially for the contractor market, a lot of people decide to take the month off of August, and not everyone can afford to do that, of course. Others have been out of work, or others are quite happily in work and are not looking for their next role, but perhaps are thinking about their next role after the end of their current contract, or perhaps the organisation is changing, or perhaps they just want a new challenge if they're in a permanent role and they're starting to look around. And what's quite clever on a lot of websites, a lot of the social sites, you can start to get numbers and a lot of data on who's looking, and that's quite useful, certainly for recruiters, to find out the kind of insight into the number of people that are actively looking, either in a certain location or with a certain skill set, or perhaps a contractor or a permanent candidate. But I just wanted to dive in. I've only got 30 minutes. I just wanted to dive in and talk about some of the things that I would do if I was looking for a job. So I've been contacted quite a lot over the last few weeks. I know my team have, but I get quite a lot of messages every single day, people asking me how I can help them. Now, I can't help everyone, and I never want to promise people that I can help them. However, what I'm going to do is give you some tips here that might be useful for you, whether you're looking today or whether you're going to be looking for something over the next 3 to 6 months, or even in the new year. So I just put a real quick list down together, and I wanted to discuss a few of those if I was looking for a role. The first thing that I would be thinking about is I would be looking to think about actually figuring out what I wanted to do. Now, for some people that's really easy and they know what they want to do next. They might be really clear about the role, they might be really clear about the type of organisation they want to work for. But for many people, they don't really know what they want to do. And sometimes this, what I would call procrastination, is the downfall for many people, because a lot of people spend a lot of time procrastinating about what if it doesn't work, what if I don't try. And they spend so much time thinking about not doing something that they never get around to actually doing it. So my advice to you is really focus on, right, this is what I want to do now. And by the way, if it doesn't work, at least you've tried it. Okay, so my recommendation is to really raise a focus in on what are you really passionate. It could be what you're really passionate about and what you want to do and what's going to make you happy. Okay, so once you figured that out, that's a great start. You can write that down and you can focus. Right, okay, good. I know what I want to do. The next thing you might want to think about is, before you jump in and start to applying for roles left, right and centre, think about the type of organisation that you want to join. Again, it could be a permanent role, it could be a contract. Now, with a contractor, sometimes they're a lot more flexible, or they can be. So, when we're talking to contractors, they might say, look, I'll jump on a plane and go anywhere. Other people, might need a role around the corner. They need to get home for the kids at night. So be really clear about what's the type of organisation you want to join, whether it's for a permanent or contract role. Where does that location need to be? What size organisation might suit you, what environment tends to suit you, and start thinking about the types of organisations that you might enjoy working with, or you might prefer to work with. Once you've kind of thought about that and just put a few things down, because when you reach out to recruiters, whether it's for an internal or an external role, they're going to ask you some of these questions, or you might decide to ask them and question them a little bit about the role, just to try and weed out the ones that just, look, it's going to waste your time, it's going to waste their time. There's nothing worse than going forward for stuff and then finding out the location doesn't work, the money doesn't quite work, the role doesn't work, the environment doesn't work, the team members are not going to work, whatever it might be. So figure that out first. Then what I'll be thinking about is I'll be thinking about my digital footprint. So when I'm applying for roles, what does my digital footprint look like? And nowadays, obviously, this is really, really important, I believe. Now, for some people, that might not be too important for them. If you get a role straight away, you don't worry about this. Maybe you don't even have a profile online. But for many people, having a profile online, whether it's with LinkedIn or Zing or WordPress with your own site or about.me, any of these type of tools, for example, it's really important that you've got a really professional and up-to-date profile. So some of the things that I'll be looking at is making sure that I've got that really up-to-date. So for LinkedIn, for example, I've put a professional picture of myself. It's not blurry, it's not a logo, it's not a graphic. It's a professional picture of myself. I can shoot it with my iPhone, I can make it look nice. I'll have updated the summary to talk about, perhaps adding my personality to it, but of course talking about the value that I can deliver to organizations. I'm then going to list the organizations that I've been working for. I'm going to make sure that's really clear. I'm going to put in the month and the date, not just the year. That's quite annoying when people do. Just lost Facebook there because I had a call and I forgot to put it on, turn it off basically. So sorry about that. Excuse me. So I will be updating my LinkedIn profile. I'll be putting recommendations on it. So I'll be going out to people in my network, perhaps who I've worked with in the past, who perhaps can give me a recommendation. Don't be afraid to ask for recommendations. And some people say recommendations are not worth it, but I believe they are worth it. And even if you get a recommendation from someone and you can give them a steer on perhaps the recommendation that you're looking for without putting words in their mouth, but at least you can give them a steer in the kind of things. Maybe it's a gentle reminder of what value you delivered to them when you worked with them, or something that you did to help them. Again, you're looking for the truth, because you'll be found out if you're not telling the right information. And make sure you give that information. So put down those recommendations, certainly on LinkedIn, and you should be recommending other people as well as giving something back. What I'd then be doing is looking at, okay, so do I want to be applying for jobs with recruitment agencies? Do I want to be applying for direct jobs? Now, you can do both of those things. So again, you can use, obviously the easy tool is to use Google, and Google are bringing out their new Google Hire tool shortly, so it's worth looking up that. But you can use tools like Indeed. So you can use Indeed to search for jobs, and you can actually go into the advanced feature on Indeed and look for jobs based on keywords, for example, location, and you can even advanced search and filter out recruitment agencies if you want to take those out. Then you can look at job sites and job boards. So again, depending on your market, depending on your skill set, you might be looking at CW Jobs in the UK, IT Job Board across Europe, Stepstone in different parts of Europe as well. You'll be using JobServe, Monster, all these kind of things. So again, you might want to be looking at those. And then, you might find particular companies that you really want to work for. So I would suggest that you start thinking about, well, how can I connect with people at those organizations? So start looking around and looking, right, okay, there's a job at, wherever, the BBC, right, who do I know that has worked there in the past? Who can I connect in with that I can try and get a connection in with? Who's working there now that perhaps I worked with at a previous company, and I can just give them a quick nudge and maybe they can find out internally who's looking after that role. Or maybe what you can also do is just connect out straight out to that recruiter. I'm having a bad time with my Instagram live, so I'm sorry for everyone getting knocked off there a couple of times. Hopefully I've solved it now. What you should also do is start thinking about connecting with the recruiters. So again, if you've got a particular skill set, you can do some research quite easily and find out which recruiters recruit in that field. Now, the recruiter may be niche market, so they might be focusing on one market and you might be able to reach out to them, but they might also be client centric. So again, if it's an organization you're looking to work with, maybe you can find out which recruiters recruit for that organization. If you've got a particular skill set and you're focusing on that skill set rather than just with one customer, perhaps you want to start thinking about finding recruiters who focus in that niche area as well. Then what I'd also do is, make sure I apply to those jobs that are relevant, not just hitting every single job that's out there. And I would follow up with a phone call. So I'd make a list. I could make there's apps out there that do it, but if you want to do it simply, you could make a Google Doc and you could look at all the jobs you've applied for, put a column in saying, right, yeah, I followed that up, either direct or indirect, and I've made a call and I've tried to get through to them. The other things you can start doing is start blogging about your passion, or blogging about the area that you want to develop in, that you want to get a role in, that you want to, and you can find so much information online. You can even take articles and give your own spin on that article. Now, the best place to do that is on LinkedIn, on the LinkedIn blogging platform. It's still the number one place, I believe. You can also set up your own WordPress website quite easily, and WordPress blog. So again, you could take that information that you've done from your LinkedIn blog post, you can remarket it onto your own WordPress site as well. Make sure that your profile picture is up to date. As I said earlier, I see that a lot of issues with that. And then put down a target. So what I mean by a target is every day that you're going to target yourself to send out a certain amount of CVs, send out a certain amount of follow-up calls for those CVs that you're sending out, send out a certain amount of connections to people within organizations, send out a certain amount of or write a certain number of blogs per week, it could be, or one a week, or whatever you want to do. The other thing that's working really well at the moment is status updates. What I'd also do is try and get along to networking nights and see if you can get hold of any networking nights in the areas that you want to work within. So again, there's plenty of stuff out there, even the free ones on Eventbrite or meetups that you can go along to. And if you're shy, try and find someone else that you can go with who will tag along with you. And if you're not, just rock up, because everyone else, generally is in exactly the same boat as you. So, if you don't do it now, you're never going to do it. And then, even old things like meeting old colleagues for a coffee. And it could be even you're meeting them by their new place of work. So that's a really good way of finding out, actually, do I want to work near this location? Is there, a train station or whatever it might be close by that I can get to easily? Do I even like the building? Because I think I'm a firm believer, getting a bit older, I want to be in an environment that you want to enjoy walking into every day. So, you can quickly either rule it in or rule it out. There's a lot of companies out there that you perceive that they're going to have this, beautiful, amazing office environment, and you turn up and it's, some crappy old office. So, these are important things to many people. The other thing you could do is just do something different. Old-fashioned writing a letter. Sticking a postcard in the post to the CEO or the CTO. Writing to them and sending it in with it to the head of recruitment or HR or whoever it might be, and telling them a story about, why you would fit in the organization. Pay for it by DHL, so someone has to sign for it. These are all just little things you can do. I'm just thinking of ideas, and this might set you slightly different from other people in the market. So when I hear that candidates say, I've done a few things and I'm not getting any bites, I'm afraid that I've just listed off a number of things there. These are all the things that you could be doing. Now, if I'm talking about doing these and I was in the market right now and I was competing with you for a job, you can appreciate that if I'm putting in this huge amount of activity, the chances of my success could be higher than yours if you're not putting that activity in. So, I wanted to share that with you tonight. I'm going to be adding this recording on this week. If that's useful for you, or you've got any questions, or you want to know more about, how to get a role, you can drop me a line here over on our Facebook page, which is Facebook/Vine Resources. I also do a daily show on anchor.fm/David Lawrence. That's a podcast show. So come and join the conversation. Wherever you are, hope you have a nice evening, and I shall speak to you soon.